With sexual violence on campus continuing to make headlines, one attorney is arguing that reform in the way these cases are handled is needed. Her name is Michelle Owens, and she's here to discuss the SAVE organization and its initiative to create due process in the way schools handle cases of sexual assault. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you for having me.
You are a spokesperson for SAVE, or the Stop Abusive and Violent Environments. Talk to us a bit about how college campuses have become dangerous environments for assault victims.
Well, they've become dangerous environments for assault victims and for those who are accused, because basically what happens in a college setting right now is that these college assaults are handled by a kangaroo court system of administrators and other people who have not been trained, aren't lawyers, aren't judges, and they take away the due process rights of those accused and of the alleged victims, so that no one gets a fair shot at anything as far as presenting evidence, finding out information about the charges against them. It's just a complete kangaroo court.
You argue that inept administrators and bias are causing so-called kangaroo courts. Tell us more about what that term means.
Well, a kangaroo court is just a situation where there is no due process. There is no fairness. There's no equality. There is all of the things that you think of when you talk about our American justice system, the things that you expect to have when you're accused of a crime, or the protections you expect if you accuse somebody of rape, like the rape shield laws, which prevent them from bringing in your past sexual history as evidence against you. All of those are gone. The administrators in the Title IX world are made up of very biased individuals, almost completely female as far as the Title IX coordinators, and they have an inherent bias that is leaning against males. And that can, go either way as far as who is the accuser and who is not. But there's an inherent bias that is against men in the general public as far as the universities right now.
And I think one of those stories, it came out of the Rolling Stone, and then after an investigation, there was those falsified accusations. Let me ask you this: what role does the Department of Education play?
Well, that's a huge part of it, because what the Department of Education is doing is unrolling the OCR guidelines that have caused this problem in the first place. There was a Dear Colleague letter put in place in 2011 that Betsy DeVos has rescinded. She's put interim guidelines in place that are going to make things a little bit more fair for both sides. Now, not just for accused students, but for victims as well. Because right now the situation is really bad for both parties. They both, if you're a victim, you have to tell your story about 10 or 15 times to people, a 26-year-old dorm advisor, not to anyone who has any training in a forensic interview. But what the Department of Education is doing is putting new guidelines in place that are hopefully going to make things more fair. It's not going to fix the situation completely, but it is going to make things better and give both parties a little bit more due process.
And how does the organization SAVE work for reforming these so-called kangaroo courts?
Well, what SAVE does, it's a nonpartisan 501c3 that basically is a clearinghouse for information, and their goal is to educate. They are not on one side or the other. They are looking at situations objectively, such as Title IX, and determining that, through the wealth of information they've collected, that it is not good for either males, females, accused students, or victims, and they educate the public and lawmakers, partisan and nonpartisan organizations to try to make change, to make things better and allow due process to come back in where it's supposed to be.
Viewers go to learn more about SAVE's new campaign?
I'm sorry, could you repeat that?
Where can our viewers go to learn more about SAVE's new campaign?
They can go to saveservices.org.
Michelle Owens, thank you so much again.
Want to see more videos like this? Click on the link below and subscribe to One America News on YouTube, and call your cable provider and kindly demand that One America News is added to your lineup. Call and subscribe today.